The courtroom froze the moment she shuffled through the door, an 87-year-old mother clutching a worn cardigan like armor. Her son stood across the aisle, arms crossed, eyes cold enough to quiet the entire room. No one understood how a family could break this completely. But when Judge Judy leaned forward, her voice low and razor-sharp, the truth that followed made even her bailiff stop breathing. And what she uncovered next stunned everyone. But before we get into it, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments and hit subscribe for more shocking courtroom moments. The echo of the door closing still hangs in the air when Judge Judy lifts her eyes toward the frail figure standing at the podium. Something in the room shifts, as if everyone suddenly realizes this is not an ordinary case. The elderly mother stands small beneath the courtroom lights, the soft fabric of her cardigan gathered tightly in her fists. Her hands tremble just enough to catch the eye, and the tremor ripples through the tension in the room. She is 87, but in this moment, she looks like someone carrying far more years than life ever intended to give. Across the aisle, her son straightens his posture. He does not look at her. He looks forward, jaw locked, shoulders drawn back with a pride that feels strangely out of place. His stance says he expects to win. His eyes say he already believes he has. The camera of the courtroom, real or imagined, would linger on the space between them. That empty space tells the story before either of them speaks. A lifetime lived under the same roof, reduced now to a stretch of linoleum too wide to cross. Judge Judy studies both faces with that unreadable calm she has perfected over the years. Her chin lifts slightly, a signal that she has already taken in more than either of them realizes. She begins with the mother, her voice gentler than the room expects. "Ma'am," Judy says, "tell me what happened." The mother's gaze lowers. It is not shame, it is exhaustion. Her voice emerges small but steady. "He told me I had to leave, that I was in the way." The words fall one by one, as though each must be carried across a distance first. A rustle moves through the audience seating. Even the bailiff glances toward the son with a look that is not subtle. The son rolls his eyes. "She left on her own," he says quickly, cutting into the moment as if trying to grab the room back before it slips from him. "She was not kicked out. She was dramatic." The mother flinches, barely, but enough for Judy to catch it. Judy's eyes sharpen. "Dramatic?" she repeats, her tone colder now. "An 87-year-old woman ends up sleeping on a neighbor's couch, and you call that dramatic?" The son opens his mouth, but no answer comes out. His confidence dims for the first time. Judy leans back in her chair, fingers tapping once against the desk, a sound that lands in the space like a warning. "Let me make sure I understand," she says. "You claim she left by choice." He nods, eager now. "Yes, exactly." Judy tilts her head, studying him like a puzzle missing several pieces. "Then why?" she asks slowly. "Did you bring a financial ledger to prove it?" His face freezes, as if he only now realizes the trap he built himself. Judy lifts the ledger off the desk, opens it to the first page, and says, "Let us begin with this, because something here already does not add up." His confidence returns quickly, but not quickly enough to erase the flicker of fear that crossed his face when Judge Judy opened the ledger. The room senses it, that brief tremor in a man who walked in believing he owned the truth. Judge Judy lowers her gaze to the ledger again, flipping a page with the slow, deliberate motion of someone who has already decided the pace of the room. Paper rustles softly, but the sound cuts sharper than a reprimand. The son straightens, lifting his chin like a man preparing for battle, but his hands betray him. They tighten on the podium, knuckles whitening. "Let me ask you something," Judy says, eyes never leaving the page. "If your mother left on her own, why would you need written financial records to defend yourself?" The son laughs, too loud, too forced. "Because she twists things. I wanted proof. You know how older people get." There is a collective exhale from the audience, the kind that happens when a line crosses a boundary no one expected. The mother lowers her eyes again, shrinking slightly, as though the weight of his words presses against her spine. Judy finally looks up, Her stare lands on him with surgical precision. "What I know," she says, "is that most sons do not keep profit and loss documents on their elderly mothers unless there is something to hide." His smile fractures. "It is not profit and loss, it is expenses. I paid for everything, food, utilities, medical care. I kept track." Judy flips another page. A soft hum escapes her, the kind that means she has spotted something interesting, something dangerous. "Utilities," she murmurs. "Medical care, impressive." She lifts the ledger, taps the bottom of a column with her pen. "Then why are half these entries blank?" He leans forward, squinting. Because some months were unpredictable. You know how bills are." "But the empty spaces," Judy replies, "appear only after she moved out. Why would you keep tracking expenses for someone who was no longer there?" His throat bobs in a hard swallow. The courtroom seems to tilt, as though everyone else felt that same swallow travel through the air. The mother speaks softly, the words barely above breath. "I was not there to make any bills." Judy nods toward her, then turns back to him. "She was not there, so what exactly were you tracking?" His lips part, but the sentence splinters before it forms. This time there is no laugh to hide behind. Silence expands, heavy, deliberate, unkind. Judy leans forward slowly, the lights reflecting off her glasses in a way that slices the space between them. "Let us continue," she says, "because these numbers are telling a story very different from yours." She flips to a page near the center, one labeled in his own handwriting. The room stiffens. Her finger lands on an entry circled twice in red ink. "Explain," Judy says, her voice low and unwavering, "why this withdrawal appears one day before your mother was told to leave." The file touches Judge Judy's desk with a soft thud. Yet somehow, the sound feels louder than anything the son has said so far. The room stills, every gaze fixed on the red-circled entry that already looks guilty. Judge Judy adjusts her glasses, her finger resting on the troubling withdrawal line as though she is holding the truth in place. "This amount," she says, her voice level, "was taken out the day before your mother left her home. Why?" The son clears his throat. "Too hard, too fast." "It was for repairs," he replies. "The house needed work. I handled everything. She did not want to deal with it." Judy turns the page slightly, revealing additional blank spaces, inconsistent handwriting, columns that start orderly and end in chaos. Nothing in this ledger feels clean, and nothing in his voice sounds true. "Repairs," she repeats. "Then show me where the repair receipts are." He freezes. His eyes dart downward as if searching for an escape route that exists only on paper. "They're somewhere at home. I forgot to bring them." Judy does not blink. "Convenient." A murmur ripples through the audience. It is the sound of strangers sensing a lie unraveling in real time. The elderly mother shifts slightly, the movement so gentle it is almost ghost-like. Her voice emerges with a fragile strength. "There were no repairs," she says quietly. "The house was fine." Her son snaps his head toward her. "You don't remember, Mom. You forget things." Judy raises one hand, a subtle, commanding gesture. "Do not speak to her that way." Her tone is sharp enough to slice through whatever dominance he thought he had reclaimed. She leans forward, narrowing her eyes. "You circled this entry. You highlighted it. You presented it as justification. Yet there is no corresponding bill, no work order, no contractor, and no evidence. So let me ask again, why withdraw this amount the day before she ended up homeless?" He shifts, jaw working, breath thinning. The strength he wore like armor begins to fold inward, crease by crease. "I told you it was for the house." "No," Judy says, closing the ledger halfway, letting it rest like a verdict waiting to be spoken. "It was for something else. And you know it." The mother watches her son silently, eyes soft but wounded, as though each passing moment confirms something she has tried not to believe. Judy reopens the ledger, flipping swiftly now. Each page turn a sharp, cautious blade. "These numbers contradict your story. They contradict each other. And frankly, they contradict common sense." He exhales a shaky, uneven breath. "I did the best I could," he mutters. Your best, Judy replies, seems to have an unusual relationship with missing money. The air thickens. Even the cameras seem to lean closer. Judy stops on one particular handwritten notation. Different ink, different tilt, unfamiliar stroke. She taps it slowly. Before we go further, she says, her voice dropping into a deeper silence, explain this notation, because this is where your story truly starts to fall apart. He leans in, squinting at the notation Judge Judy's finger rests upon, but the closer he looks, the more his confidence dissolves, as if the truth is written in a language he never expected to be confronted with. The courtroom feels colder now, its bright lights exposing the smallest tremors crossing the sun's face. Judge Judy does not move her hand from the notation. She simply waits, letting the weight of the unanswered question sink into the walls. The silence, the space between mother and son. What is this? She asks again, her voice unhurried but unyielding. The son swallows hard. It is just a note. A reminder. Nothing important. Then it should be very easy to explain. Judy's tone sharpens, still calm but impossible to outrun. Read it out loud. He hesitates. The muscles in his jaw tighten. Finally, he mutters the words. Funds held, pending, transition. Judy lifts her eyes. Transition to what? His lips part. No sound comes out. For the first time, true panic flashes through his expression. Quick, unguarded, human. He tries to disguise it with a shrug. I cannot remember. It was months ago. I write things down to stay organized. Judy tilts her head slightly, that signature gesture that means she is already 10 steps ahead of him. You do not remember withdrawing several $1,000s. You do not remember why you labeled it as pending transition. Yet you came in here claiming you kept immaculate records of your mother's expenses. A quiet murmur ripples across the audience seats. The mother shifts her hands, twisting the fabric of her cardigan. She looks like she wishes she did not recognize the truth unfolding in front of her. But she does. Judy closes the ledger gently, her palm resting on its worn cover, as though holding a confession in place. Let me be very clear, she says. You withdrew money the day before your mother was told to leave. You kept handwritten notes that contradict every explanation you have given today, and now you cannot answer the simplest question, he snaps. Why are you assuming the worst of me? She is not helpless. She exaggerates everything. The mother flinches again, this time deeper, a visible ache spreading through her expression. Judy raises a single hand, silencing him like a switch being flipped. I assume what the evidence tells me, she replies. And right now, your evidence tells a very troubling story. He shifts, breath shallow, eyes scanning the courtroom as if hoping someone, anyone, might rescue him from the unraveling. No one moves. Judy slides the ledger to the side. The soft scrape of paper on wood echoes like the turning of a tide. I said earlier, she continues, voice low, that this ledger was not the only problem I see. His brows knit. What do you mean? Judy opens a separate folder, one he did not realize she had. She taps its cover and says, because this document right here changes everything about your story. His jaw tightens the moment he sees the new folder in Judge Judy's hands. A folder he did not bring, a folder he did not know existed, a folder that makes his shoulders sink just a little too quickly. The room leans forward as Judy opens the folder, each page turned deliberate, each movement precise. It is the calm before a storm that only she controls. The son shifts his weight from foot to foot, trying to appear unbothered, but the tremor in his jaw exposes the truth long before the first document is revealed. Judy lifts a stapled packet, holding it just high enough for the camera and the mother to see. Do you recognize this? She asks. His eyes narrow. I would have to look at it. You will, Judy replies, handing it to the bailiff, who places it in front of him with a firmness that speaks louder than words. He flips the first page over, and the color drains from his face. It is a rental agreement, a legally binding contract, naming his own mother as a tenant in the house she lived in for over 50 years. The audience gasps. The mother's breath catches like a thread snapping inside her chest. Judy's tone slices through the tension. You filed this agreement behind her back. You listed her as a renter in what was, for decades, her home. He stammers, words tripping over each other in desperation. It was for tax purposes, just paperwork, nothing serious. But Judy is already shaking her head. Paperwork with legal consequences is never nothing. You created a document that positioned your mother as a tenant, and tenants can be removed with far less effort than homeowners. The mother lifts a trembling hand to her chest, the cardigan bunching beneath her fingers. You told me. You said it was to help me, to organize things. Her voice cracks. Not from anger, but from something far heavier. He turns toward her quickly, almost too quickly. Mom, you misunderstood. No, Judy interjects, her voice calm but powerful. She understood exactly what you wanted her to believe. That is manipulation, sir, not misunderstanding. The son's shoulders slump, but his eyes dart in every direction, searching for somewhere to place the blame, somewhere to escape the spotlight closing in on him. Judy presses on. This agreement allowed you to remove her whenever it benefited you. The question now is simple. Why did you want her out? The courtroom goes still. Even the faint hum of the overhead lights seems to fade. His confidence returns quickly, but not quickly enough to erase the flicker of fear that crossed his face when Judge Judy opened the ledger. The room senses it. That brief tremor in a man who walked in believing he owned the truth. All eyes turn to the mother, who stands very still, as though bracing herself for an answer she has dreaded for months. Her lips part. She hesitates. He wanted the house for... Her voice trails off, lost in the ache of truth she cannot yet speak aloud. Judy leans forward, voice softening with a gravity that feels almost tender. Ma'am, you can tell this court. The mother closes her eyes, summoning a strength that looks decades old. When she opens them again, she whispers, He wanted me out, because someone else wanted me gone. Her whisper hangs in the air like a fragile thread, and for a moment, even the courtroom seems unsure whether to breathe. The son's eyes widen, not in guilt, but in panic at a truth he did not expect her to reveal. Judge Judy leans forward, her gaze narrowing as if she can pull the truth out of the stillness. Someone else wanted her gone, she repeats slowly. Who? The mother's fingers tug anxiously at the sleeve of her cardigan. His girlfriend, she says softly. The word girlfriend lands with a heaviness that makes the audience shift in their seats. The son immediately pushes back from the podium. This is ridiculous. She is making it sound like some conspiracy. My girlfriend had nothing to do with this. But his defense comes too fast, too sharp, the unmistakable tone of someone trying to plug holes in a sinking story. Judy's eyes don't leave him. So your girlfriend moved into the house? He hesitates, a dangerous pause. Yes, but it was temporary. Temporary, Judy repeats. And how long after she moved in did your mother leave? The room quiets. The mother looks down, swallowing a memory she does not want to revisit. 3 days, she whispers. The audience murmurs. Even the bailiff lifts a subtle brow, the kind that says he has seen a lot, but this cuts deeper than most. 3 days, Judy echoes. That is not temporary. That is displacement. It was not like that, the son snaps. Mom was crowding us. She complained about everything. She did not respect boundaries. My girlfriend felt uncomfortable. The mother shakes her head, voice trembling. I tried. I stayed in my room. I cooked for them. I wanted her to like me. Judy shifts her attention to the mother, her voice gentler than before. Did your son ever tell you directly that she wanted you out? A long silence stretches across the room. Then, the mother nods. And when she speaks, her voice breaks in half. I heard him tell her, once she's gone, this place is finally ours. A collective exhale floods the courtroom. Shock, sorrow, disbelief woven together. The son's composure shatters. You misunderstood. You always misunderstand. But Judy doesn't let the moment slip. She misunderstood a rental agreement you hid from her. She misunderstood the unexplained withdrawals. She misunderstood being told to leave her own home. He wilts under the weight of each question. Judy turns to her clerk. You said earlier the girlfriend provided a written statement? She extends a hand. I want it now. A thin envelope appears. The statement he insisted would support his story. His jaw tightens. His eyes close briefly, a flicker of dread crossing his features. The bailiff brings the envelope to Judy. She slides a single sheet free, scanning its contents with a deepening frown. She looks up, expression carved in stone. Sir, she says, lifting the page, this statement does not defend you. It contradicts everything you have said. If you were sitting in that courtroom, would you stay silent or speak up for her? The son watches Judge Judy read the statement, and for the first time, arrogance leaves his face entirely. His eyes flicker with the unmistakable dread of a man realizing the trap he set for others has snapped shut on him instead. Judge Judy lowers the page slowly, almost gently, the kind of gentleness that precedes a strike. You said, she begins, her voice clear and resonant, that your girlfriend supported your claim that your mother left willingly. He nods quickly, clinging to the last thread of control. Yes. She wrote everything down. She knows exactly what happened. Judy taps the paper with her index finger. I am sure she does. The tone is cool. Too cool. She lifts the document slightly so the camera and the audience can see the highlighted line. According to your girlfriend, you told her your mother would be out within the week because you wanted privacy. The son's mouth falls open. That is not... She misunderstood what I said. Interesting, Judy replies, because that makes the second woman in your life who seems to misunderstand your words the exact same way. A wave of tension rolls through the room, thick enough to feel. The mother closes her eyes for a moment, as though steadying herself against a memory she has carried too long. Judy continues reading. He said once she is gone, we can finally live without interference. She lowers the page, fixing him with a stare that could freeze fire. This is your girlfriend's handwriting, her words, not your mother's imagination. He sputters, voice breaking around the edges. She took it out of context. We were talking about space. Mom needs constant attention and... Stop. Judy's command slices cleanly through his excuses. Your mother needed a safe home. You needed convenience. Silence. Heavy, suffocating, absolute. He cannot look at his mother. He cannot look at Judy. Instead, his eyes fix on some distant point on the floor, as though wishing he could fall through it and disappear. Judy flips the statement over, revealing the signature line. Your girlfriend wrote this quickly. I can see the hesitation in her pen pressure. She was uneasy. She leans forward. That happens when people realize the lie they were supporting suddenly carries legal weight. His breath stumbles. So what? You think she lied? No, Judy answers. I think she accidentally told the truth. The courtroom reacts, a ripple of gasps, whispers, sharp inhales. Even the bailiff looks momentarily stunned. The mother's eyes fill, not with anger, but with the dull ache of betrayal settling deeper into her bones. I never wanted trouble, she whispers. I just wanted peace in my own home. Judy nods with a slow, deliberate compassion. Then she turns, signaling to the clerk. Bring the additional documents that arrived this morning. The son jerks his head up. Additional? What additional documents? The clerk lays a sealed envelope before Judy. She opens it carefully, scanning the contents with a shift in her expression that sends a fresh chill through the room. Judy looks directly at him and says, These papers show exactly what you plan to do next, and it is far worse than removing your mother from her home. The envelope sits in Judge Judy's hand like something radioactive, dangerous, glowing with truth. And the moment she begins to peel it open, the son's face drains of color, as if he already knows what is inside. The courtroom falls into a hush so deep it seems to swallow even the hum of the lights. Judy lifts the first page, her eyes narrowing with each line she reads. There is no dramatic gasp, no sudden shift in posture. Just a slow, deliberate exhale, The kind that warns the room that what she is seeing is both undeniable and unforgivable. "Sir," she says, not yet looking up, "did you begin the process of listing your mother's home for sale?" The son's reaction is immediate, visceral. "No, absolutely not. I do not know what you are reading, but—" Judy raises a hand. Silence snaps back into place. She finally meets his eyes. "This," she says, lifting the document between her fingers, "is a preliminary property listing, drafted by a real estate agent. You initiated this file 2 weeks before your mother was told to leave." A ripple of shock rolls through the audience. The mother's breath stumbles, and she grips the podium, as if the room just tilted beneath her. No, I did not sign anything," the son insists, voice fraying. "They must have made a mistake." But Judy is already flipping to the second page. "The agent included notes," she says, "and according to these notes, you told them you would have full possession of the property soon." The mother's eyes close, her shoulders curl inward. It is the posture of a woman realizing her son's betrayal began long before she ever packed a bag. "Mom," he starts, but his voice falters, collapsing under the weight of what he cannot take back. Judy continues, her tone cooling by degrees. "You were planning to sell the home your mother lived in for 5 decades, the home she and your father built a life in." She turns another page. "You even told the agent you expected the property to be vacant by the end of the month." The mother opens her eyes again, a sheen of tears making the lights above her shimmer. "This house, this was all we had," she whispers. "Where was I supposed to go?" Her voice is small, but the devastation in it is enormous. Judy sets the documents down with surgical precision. "You were not just removing her from her home," she says. "You were erasing it, erasing her history, erasing her existence in it." His breathing turns shallow, frantic. "You do not understand. I needed to. Things were complicated." "No," Judy says simply. "Things were calculated." He stares at her, panic clawing at his composure. She reaches for the last page, the one that shifts the atmosphere from betrayal to something far more serious. "This signature," she says softly, "is not your mother's." The room gasps. The mother's hand flies to her mouth. The son stumbles back a full step. Judy lifts her eyes, sharp as judgment itself. "And forging a homeowner's signature to transfer property interest," she says, "is more than betrayal. It is a crime." His face turns pale, almost translucent under the courtroom lights, when Judge Judy says the word crime. The word does not echo. It lands, heavy and final, like a hammer dropped onto glass already cracked. The son stands frozen, chest rising and falling in uneven bursts. His eyes flicker between the forged signature, his mother's trembling hands, and Judge Judy's unblinking stare. Each glance steals a little more of the confidence he walked in with. Judy lifts the document again, the forged signature catching the light. "Property fraud," she says calmly, "is not something you accidentally do. So before this goes any further, I am giving you the chance to explain yourself." The son opens his mouth, but the words come out misshapen, weak, stripped of the arrogance he once wore like armor. I needed options," he stammers. "The house was too much. I thought I could handle it better." "You thought," Judy interrupts, "that stealing your mother's home would be easier than caring for her." He flinches, as though struck. His mother looks at him with eyes that hold both love and devastation, a combination that hurts more than anger could. "Why did you do this?" she asks quietly. "Why was my home not safe from you?" He swallows hard, the movement visible across the room. You do not understand," he whispers. "It is complicated." "No," Judy replies. "It is simple. You forged your mother's name. You initiated a sale behind her back. You evicted her, and then you lied about every piece of it." He tries again, voice cracking under the weight of exposure. "I was under pressure. I needed space. I needed my life back." The courtroom reacts, a wave of disbelief, disgust, pity, all colliding like weather fronts in a storm of judgment. Judy studies him for a long, unmoving moment. The silence stretches, not empty but dense, thick with consequences. Sir, she finally says, pressure does not excuse abuse. Stress does not justify fraud. His breathing quickens, his hands shake. He presses his palms to the podium as if trying to steady a world collapsing beneath him. Judy leans in slightly. What I want to know now is simple. Did you ever plan to let your mother return home? His eyes close, his jaw clenches, and when he opens them again, something in him has cracked, deeply, visibly. I do not know, he whispers. I thought maybe, after the sale, I could buy something smaller for her, or send her somewhere. The mother gasps, not loudly, just enough for the sound to cut through the air like a wounded breath. Somewhere, Judy repeats, her voice dropping into the quiet that follows confessions. She is your mother, not a burden to relocate. He looks down at his hands. They look different now, smaller, weaker, like a man finally seeing the damage he's done reflected back at him. Judy exhales slowly. Before I continue, she says, there is something your mother told my clerk before the hearing began. He looks up sharply, fear widening his eyes. Judy folds her hands and says, and what she said? May be the only truth left in this room. Do you think remorse should ever erase guilt, or does justice demand accountability no matter what? His eyes widen the instant Judge Judy mentions a private confession. It is the kind of widening that comes from fear, not curiosity. The fear of someone who knows the truth is finally slipping out of his control. Judge Judy folds her hands, her expression softening just enough to signal that she is shifting her focus. Not toward the son, but toward the woman who has stood quietly beneath the weight of betrayal. Ma'am, Judy says gently, you told my clerk something before the hearing began. I would like you to share it in your own words, but only if you feel ready. The mother hesitates, fingers tightening around the edges of her cardigan, as though anchoring herself to something familiar. The room remains silent, respectful, waiting. She raises her eyes, and though they glisten, they do not falter. I asked if I was allowed to withdraw the case, she says softly. A wave of disbelief sweeps through the audience. Even the son looks stunned, as though blindsided by mercy he never earned. Judy's voice lowers. And why did you ask that? The mother inhales shakily, her chest rising with effort. Because he is my son, she whispers, and I thought, if he apologized, maybe we could fix things. Her voice breaks, but not from weakness, from love, bruised by reality. I do not want to spend what little time I have left fighting him. The son's mouth opens slightly, but no words come. His bravado, once so loud, evaporates into a stunned quiet. He looks smaller now, not because Judy diminished him, but because his mother exposed the fragile thread of loyalty she still held for him. Judy studies the son carefully. Do you have anything to say to your mother in this moment? His lips part, trembling, but the apology she hoped for does not come. Instead, he says softly, Mom, you do not understand everything that was going on. A faint, pained smile touches her lips, the kind a mother makes when she realizes her child may never see her the way she sees him. I understand enough, she replies gently. I understand that I did something wrong too. Judy leans in, eyebrows lifting. What do you believe you did wrong? The mother clasps her hands together, the motion slow and aching. I gave him too much, she whispers. Too much trust, too much freedom, too much guilt, and too much money. The son stiffens. The courtroom stiffens with him. Judy's eyes sharpen. Money? The mother nods. Every month I gave him some. I thought I was helping. I thought, that is what mothers do. Judy turns to the son, her expression hardening. Is that true? Did your mother financially support you? His silence answers before he does. The truth folds over the courtroom like a dark curtain, quiet, suffocating, undeniable. Judy's voice cuts through it. Ma'am, is there anything else you want to share? The mother looks down at her hands, trembling now. Yes, she whispers. But I do not know if he remembers. She lifts her eyes, and in them is a truth she has carried alone for far too long. "What happened," she says softly, "began long before he asked me to leave." The mother's final sentence hangs in the air like a tremor before an earthquake, soft, barely audible, but powerful enough to shift everything beneath it. Her son stiffens, muscles locking as if bracing for a truth he hoped would stay buried. Judge Judy leans in, her voice quieter now, sharpened not by anger but by concern. "Ma'am," she says, "take your time. Tell me what began before he asked you to leave." The mother exhales, the breath long and fragile, carrying years of silence. She grips the podium to steady herself. "It started after my health scare," she murmurs, "when I collapsed in the kitchen." A hush settles over the courtroom, not fear, respect. "I was in the hospital for 3 days," she continues. "They told him I needed help managing my bills until I recovered, and he said he would handle everything. He said not to worry." Judy nods slowly. "That sounds reasonable, if it ended there." The mother closes her eyes as if pulling courage from somewhere deep inside. "But it did not end," she whispered. "I trusted him. I signed a paper, giving him temporary control of my finances. Just temporary. Only until I got better." Her voice falters, then steadies with painful clarity. "But after I recovered, he never gave it back." Gasps ripple through the room. Even the bailiff shifts his stance, arms tightening across his chest. The son swallows hard, his face flushing. "It was just easier that way," he blurts. "Mom gets confused. I kept things organized." Judy's gaze slices through him. "Organized? You continued acting as her fiduciary without her consent. That is not organization. That is exploitation." He opens his mouth, but Judy lifts her hand, a signal that ends the sentence before it begins. The mother speaks again, tears pooling at the edges of her eyes. "He told me I was forgetting things, that I was a burden, that bills were too complicated for me now." She wipes her cheek with the edge of her sleeve. "And I believed him, because he is my son." The room grows painfully still. Judy softens. "Ma'am, did you ever ask for that authority to be returned to you?" The mother nods. "Twice. But he said it was for my own good. And then, when his girlfriend moved in, he said I was in the way, that my things were cluttering their home." The son flinches, a full-bodied involuntary jolt. The illusion he constructed is collapsing, piece by piece, under the weight of truth spoken aloud. Judy shifts her attention, her eyes locking on him. "Sir, did you continue using your mother's accounts after she no longer needed assistance?" He looks down. "Did you take withdrawals she did not authorize?" He presses his lips together. "Did you make financial decisions in her name without her knowledge?" His silence becomes an answer the entire room can hear. The mother watches him with a sorrow deeper than anger ever could be, the sorrow of a parent realizing love was used as leverage against her. Her voice trembles. "He forgot something," she says softly. "Something important." Judy turns to her quickly. "What did he forget?" The mother raises her eyes, shining with truth. "That I got better, and that the control he took, he was never meant to keep." The truth doesn't erupt. It settles, heavy, inescapable, a weight that pulls the room into a slow, stunned silence. Even the air seems thicker as the gravity of the son's actions finally lands on everyone present, including him. Judge Judy lifts the financial control documents from the desk with the care of someone handling a living wound. Her eyes sweep across the pages, then lift to the man who once walked in tall and certain. Now he stands hunched, collapsing inward under truths he can no longer outrun. "Sir," Judy says quietly, "these papers show you acted as your mother's fiduciary long after she regained the ability to manage her own affairs. Do you understand what that means?" He nods, but barely. His throat works in a hard swallow. I didn't think it was a big deal. I was just trying to help." A single word escapes the mother. Soft, cracked, painful. "Help?" The courtroom turns toward her. She isn't crying, but the kind of emotion trembling through her voice is deeper than tears. "You told me I couldn't handle my own money," she says. "You told me I'd forget. You told me I'd ruin things." Her hands clutch the fabric over her heart, as if steadying it. "I believed you." The son's eyes fill, not with tears of remorse but with the dawning terror of accountability. Judy's tone sharpens just enough to cut through the haze. "Ma'am, did you feel pressured to keep letting him control your accounts?" The mother nods slowly. "I thought, if I didn't, he would leave. He is the only family I have left." The son looks away, ashamed, yet still unable to face the consequences of his choices. Judy sits back, her voice steady, the moral center of the room. That is the tragedy here. A parent should never fear abandonment to keep a child close. A deep quiet settles again, broken only by the soft shifting of someone in the gallery trying to breathe evenly. The son finally speaks, voice low and cracking. "I didn't mean to hurt her. I didn't know what to do. Everything felt like pressure. The house, the bills, her health. I thought taking control would make it easier." Judy lifts a hand. "For whom?" He closes his eyes. "For me." The honesty is small, but real. The first truthful thing he has said without being cornered. The mother watches him, heartbreak etched into every line of her face. "You could have told me," she says. "You could have asked. I would have helped you. I always would have." He shakes his head weakly, lost somewhere between regret and shame. Judy leans forward again, bridging the moment with her steady presence. "Sir, the burden you felt does not excuse the betrayal you created. And the weight she carried quietly for all these months, that is something you must answer for." His shoulders fall, defeated. The room waits. The mother closes her eyes, not in surrender, but in release, as though finally allowing herself to feel everything she has held back. Judy taps the documents once, decisively. "Before I give my ruling," she says, "you will answer one final question. And I expect the truth this time." The microphone crackles softly as the courtroom leans forward, every ear tuned to the tension coiling between Judge Judy's poised question and the son's trembling silence. The next word spoken will decide whether this is regret or revelation. Judge Judy folds her hands atop the bench, her gaze locking onto the son with a precision that strips away whatever defenses he still clings to. "Sir," she begins, voice measured, "I am going to ask you one final question, and this is your moment to tell the truth without excuse, without performance, without fear." The son doesn't nod, but he doesn't look away either. His hands grip the podium, knuckles pale against the dark wood. Judy's voice lowers, steady as a heartbeat. "Did you ever intend to let your mother return to her home once you forced her out?" His breath stutters. A faint tremor moves through him, not the tremor of a man caught, but of a man confronting himself for the first time. He opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. The mother watches him, her eyes wide with a fragile hope she tries desperately to hide. Finally he speaks. I wanted things to be simpler," he whispers. "Everything felt heavy. Her care, her needs, the house, it was all on me." Judy's eyebrow lifts. "And you believed the solution was to remove her from the equation entirely?" He winces. "I didn't see another way. My girlfriend wanted space. She said the house didn't feel like ours. I thought, if Mom moved out for a little while, maybe things would calm down. Maybe we could figure it out." "Figure it out," Judy repeats. "By selling the home behind her back?" His voice sinks to a rasp. "I wasn't going to sell it right away. I told myself I would do what was best, but—" He stops. The words crumble before they escape. "But?" Judy presses gently. His shoulders drop, and the truth finally breaks through. "I didn't want her to come back," he admits, barely audible. "It was easier without her there. I didn't want the responsibility anymore." The mother's hand rises to her chest, fingers trembling. Her breath catches, not sharply but softly, the sound of a heart folding inward. Judy's expression shifts, a flicker of sorrow crossing her eyes before her judicial steel returns. "So you chose yourself," she says, "at the cost of the woman who raised you." He nods, tears forming but refusing to fall. "I'm not proud of it." "That," Judy replies, "is the first honest thing you've said." The courtroom is silent, reverent in its heaviness. Even the cameras seem to still themselves, capturing the portrait of a man stripped down to the truth, and a mother who has never looked smaller nor more dignified. Judy sits back slowly. "Then," she says, lifting her gavel just slightly, "I will show you what justice looks like when love has been abused, trust has been broken, and responsibility has been abandoned." Her voice lowers, carrying the weight of judgment yet to come. "But before I hand down that judgment," she says, "you need to hear exactly what your choices cost her." The lights above seem harsher now, revealing every line etched into the mother's face, lines carved by years of love, trust, and the slow ache of betrayal. The son tries not to look at her, but the silence forces him to. Judge Judy rests her hands on the bench, her voice softer than before, but weighted, like a judge holding not just legal authority, but truth itself. "Ma'am," she says gently, "I want you to tell your son what his choices have cost you." The mother blinks, startled by the request. Her hands tremble, not from weakness, but from the sudden realization that she must speak not as a victim, but as a mother who has carried too much alone. "I lost my home," she begins quietly. "But that is not what hurt the most." The son finally looks up. His eyes are red, raw with realization, yet still shadowed by fear. "I lost my safety," she continues. "I slept on a neighbor's couch. I borrowed a blanket. I wore the same clothes for 2 days because I was afraid to go back and get more." Her voice cracks, but she pushes forward, steadying herself with slow breaths. "I thought you were angry with me. I thought I had done something wrong. I kept telling myself you were stressed, that I made life too hard for you." Her thumb brushes absently over her cardigan sleeve, the soft, worn fabric she clung to like a memory of home. Her son's face contorts, guilt twisting through him like a tightening rope. "I didn't want to tell anyone," she adds. "I didn't want people to think badly of you. I told the neighbor I was visiting family. I told the grocery clerk I was remodeling the house. I lied, to protect you." The courtroom feels impossibly still. Even the cameras seem to pull in closer, capturing the fragile dignity of a mother still trying to spare her child from shame. Judy's voice is steady. "And did he protect you?" The mother closes her eyes, a brief, painful flutter. "No," she whispers. "He forgot I was his mother. He forgot I am still alive, still here, still someone who needs kindness." The son presses a fist to his mouth, shoulders shaking. He does not speak. He cannot. Judy turns to him, her expression firm, but not cruel. "Sir, you may believe your actions came from stress or pressure, but listen to what they made her feel: unwanted, invisible, disposable." Each word strikes with the precision of a gavel. The mother looks at her son, eyes soft despite it all. "I would have forgiven everything," she murmurs. "All you had to do was see me." The son exhales, a sound thick with regret, the kind that arrives only when it is too late. Judy lifts her gavel slightly, letting its shadow stretch across the bench. The room tightens, breath held collectively. "Now," she says, gaze unwavering, "it is time for you, and everyone here, to hear my verdict. Before you hear the verdict, ask yourself, can someone who betrays family truly change, or do they only change when consequences arrive?" The gavel doesn't rise with fury, it rises with purpose. The kind of purpose that comes only after truth has been stripped bare, after every wound has been laid open under the bright courtroom lights. Judge Judy leans forward, hands folded, eyes steady on the trembling son. Her voice is calm, but the weight behind it is unmistakable. "Before I give this ruling," she says, "I want you to understand something very clearly. This is not about punishment. This is about responsibility." The son nods weakly. He looks smaller now, deflated, as if every lie he carried into the room has drained him hollow. Judy turns to the mother. "Ma'am, You have shown grace far beyond what was deserved. You protected him even as he failed to protect you. You stood here with dignity, even after being cast out of your own home. She pauses, the softness in her tone reflecting something like admiration. And you still wished for reconciliation. The mother lowers her gaze, tears gathering but not falling. She is tired, deeply, humanly tired, yet there is a quiet strength in her posture. Judy exhales, then delivers her ruling with precision. First, your son is to return every dollar he withdrew from your accounts without authorization, every cent. The son closes his eyes, accepting the blow with a shaky breath. Second, he will immediately relinquish all financial control, formal, informal, or implied. You will regain full authority over your own affairs. The mother's shoulders relax, the faintest release of a burden she carried far too long. Third, he will provide the necessary funds to secure safe housing for you while the status of your previous home is addressed. You will not be left without stability. A quiet gasp spreads across the room, not from shock, but from the unexpected gentleness woven into the justice. Fourth, Judy continues, her voice sharpening, this matter will be referred to the appropriate authorities for review regarding financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. The son's head drops, not in defiance, in surrender. The courtroom feels the shift, the collapse of denial, the birth of accountability. And finally, Judy says, turning her gaze to him fully, you will look at your mother and answer one question. Do you truly understand the harm you caused her? His voice emerges broken, raw. Yes, he whispers, I do. And I'm sorry. It is not eloquent. It is not enough. But it is the closest he has come to truth all day. The mother nods, slowly. Not in forgiveness, not yet, but in recognition that remorse has finally found him. Judge Judy lowers her gavel. This court believes in justice, she says softly. But justice without compassion becomes cruelty. Today, compassion belongs to her and accountability belongs to you. Crack. The gavel falls. Not harsh, not triumphant, just final. The mother exhales. The sun sinks. The courtroom breathes again. And as the lights soften over them, the story leaves one echo shimmering in the stillness. Arrogance collapses under truth. But love, even wounded love, can survive its fall.